Today, let's talk about the feelings of love. You know, that love and feeling. And I'm going to bring up mindfulness meditation again this week. We need to talk about the Course in Miracles and how the Course in Miracles gives us a wonderful teaching spiritual metaphysical principle that answers your questions when you're feeling like, what you want in life. You're not having trouble finding love, you think. Hey everyone, James Nussbaumer, and thanks for joining me in another episode of For a Better Life podcast. It's early on a Sunday morning, September 16th, 2018. So if you hear some church bells in the background, right outside my studio, there's a wonderful old stone church about a block away. I can see it from my studio that it's been chiming so far this morning, and kind of waking up the little town of Massillon, Ohio. It's a neat little town. But anyways, let's talk about the feeling of love and love and feeling. You know, it's kind of the love and feeling I have for my hometown of Massillon, Ohio. But, that's just a location. But let's talk more about the feeling of love and feeling. The feeling of love is what I need more often is thought about by many, okay? The feeling of love. What I mean is, consider this. I need more love and feeling in my life. Many think, right? We think that. But how can I get this power of mind, this inner freedom after all, and in more of a spiritual sense, to harness that feeling of love more often in everything I do? I'm not just talking about sexual intimacy in a relationship, of course, that too, but the feeling of love in everything you do. Like I'd mentioned, the church chiming in the small little, beautiful little town in Northeast Ohio. It's a love about the appreciation for this couple 100-year-old building and structure, just a reflection. I see that building as heaven, we can say, and there's love there. Okay, so now with that in mind, let's talk about the feeling of love and feeling. The feeling of love and, let's say, spiritual freedom is, we get that through a God realization and is sometimes mistakenly considered to be, the selfish aim of a limited individual for personal gain. It's how miracles are manifested in your everyday life, though. The feeling of love is what I'm saying. Bear with me as I take a sip on my morning coffee. It just smells so good this morning. The sun is just barely coming over the horizon. My studio faces the east, and I just love the sunrises here. But anyways, let's talk about how the feeling of love is how miracles are manifested in your everyday life. By the way, after you've listened to this podcast and studied this, if you're at YouTube, by the way, listening to this, in the description area down below, I've got a link to the written version of this podcast that will give you more on how to get what you want in life by understanding the power of attraction. Some may call it the law of attraction. There goes a few motorcycles going through town as the sun's coming up. You hear that in the background? That's pretty cool. Another just something really just loving, wouldn't you say? But my point is, the link to that detailed blog article is in the description area down below at YouTube. And if you're at my website listening to this podcast today, which I've embedded into the article, you'll see that clearly stated there. But the article I'd written myself is one of hundreds of articles that I've written myself at my safe website, jamesnussbaumer.com. But the article that I'm leading you to read is a review of the best systems to help you get what you want in life by the power of attraction. Some may term it the law of attraction, the power of reflection, manifesting your desires. You may have heard of these terms, but they're just terms, they're just words. But my article breaks it down and leads you in the direction of, where to go and what to study perhaps to open your eyes, if you will, and then let you go from there to find out what it is that you can do to bring out what it is that you want in life. You know, in book one of my series called The Master of Everything, subtitle, A Story of Mankind in the World of Illusion We Call Life, we considered that, but in reality, there's no room for any selfishness or limited realization we talked about. What I mean there when it comes to the feelings of love, rather, any gain, whether it's financial or some kind of gain to one's reputation, the feeling of love and feeling or otherwise is the final aim of the limited and narrow life of the separated ego that is within us all. Now, that leads me to tell you that Monique's question, a friend of my mastermind group, my Understanding A Course in Miracles mastermind group, which, by the way, you can find out more on that at my website at the subscription page at my website. If you're at YouTube, there's a link to access that at my website. It'll say something about it, YouTube, in the description area, more on James's books and his mastermind group. Click on that, it will take you to my website. But anyways, Monique of Sacramento, California, had written in and asked me if I could explain today. You had mentioned, James, in your book, she said, in your first book, that the ego doesn't understand love. The ego is the body. Of course, she understands that, but my body feels love, though, towards the man I'm with. I have these great bodily sensations towards that man that is the love of my life. So if my body's ego, then I'm confused, she says, is how doesn't the ego, you're saying, does not feel love? Okay, I'm going to answer that to you, Monique, and I'm going to read the previous statement that I had mentioned. Go back and review that. And I said, where there's any financial gain or something to one's reputation, financial gain in your life or a gain to your reputation, or the feeling of love and that takes a back seat in the ego's mind. And the ego may see what it thinks as love only for a way to excel in future gain somehow. The ego does not know how to understand love. I'm going to explain your question, Monique, about how your body feels that love. But the ego itself, in all its illusion, just cannot find the feeling of love. It's afraid of love. The ego is full of separation, doubt, and fear. But God realization, love, and feeling is the result of the attainment of all the undoing of the errors that in your life that you have accepted by the Holy Spirit, which is your true essence. Whoa, that's deep, isn't it? Okay, I had to throw that at you because I want to wake you up on this early morning. Or it could be another time you're listening to this in a delay. Another sip of coffee. Okay, what I mean is when you ask the Holy Spirit, that the Course in Miracles terms, your inner divine self, I call it your true essence, your inner guide, we can say. When you ask the Holy Spirit, when you ask your guide, your inner divine guide, your true essence, to undo some confusion that you are having, you are doing this on behalf of the entire mind of creation. What A Course in Miracles calls the child of God. And here in earth, we're experiencing that in human form, but as a whole and not separated beings, meaning whole-minded. So what I'm trying to say is when you ask the Holy Spirit, your inner guide, to undo some confusion you are having, you're doing that on behalf of your one-mindedness, your wholeness, W-H-O-L, your wholeness of heart with creation. You're undoing the ego, doubt, and fear that doubts that wholeness. But as a whole and not of separate beings, The ego only believes in separation. It can't believe in wholeness because it doesn't understand what wholeness is. And that's the ego in this world. Okay, now bear with me, Monique, and everyone else listening, about how does your body feel love? Well, finding what's already within you is why I suggest, regular learning how to do mindfulness meditation techniques and strategies to get to that alpha state within you and learn how to tap into the inner core, the true essence of who you are. That's where you'll find all the love that sits inside of you, the wholeness, the wholeheartedness of you. And by the way, if you need to learn more about mindfulness mindfulness meditation techniques, you will find that, sure enough, at my website. Just tool around and you'll find it there. But okay, so let's get to the bottom of Monique's question. Why is the body seem to be feeling these sensations of love when it's ego? Well, there will be effects realized through the body. But see, not realizing what is already within you may lead to where relationship struggles pop up that can be easily healed simply by love's extension. Now, love's extension is not of the body. It's of the one-mindedness, the wholeness of creation. The true essence that you are is where you extend. You cannot extend your body across the world while you're here in one little area. But you can extend your heart and your love. You can extend your wholeness anywhere you want in the universe, because we're all within the one mind of creation. Whoa, again, that's deep, isn't it? That's why I urge you to pick up my first book, The Master of Everything, A Story of Mankind in the World of Illusion We Call Life, and book 2, Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, Lessons from A Course in Miracles, and book 3, which I'm so thrilled with, And Then I Knew My Abundance. All 3 books, the trilogy. It's the first 3 books of my ever-developing series, all published so far by Ozark Mountain Publishing Company, a wonderful mainstream publisher that I have a great relationship with. So you can always find my books at my website, jamesnussbaumer.com. So I break all this down for you where it's easy to understand. And I've been told by many people that my books are page turners. Okay. But if you feel you need, say, some marital or relationship healing, take a look within yourself. This is so because I want you to look inside yourself, because truth is won through the undoing of errors we all make in this world as humans and ego-based. The ego-based mind is full of separation and conflict. So wherever conflict is concerned, there are going to be errors, mistakes involved, errors in thinking, errors in thought that lead to the things that we do physically that become stupid mistakes that we beat ourselves up for later, that we regret. But when you can understand that, truth is won through the undoing of the errors. Love is truth. Feelings of love are won by the undoing of these separated these errors from separation. I hope that makes sense. And then you can be, realized through God realization. God meaning wholeness, nothing of separation. I'm going to get to that in a minute too. Then you can realize the God realization, which opens the door to your feelings of love, because God is all love. God is all truth. It's whole, it's complete. There's no limitation to that. So when you open the door to that, there's where your feeling of love is, and the power of the mind may be surfaced. And while in this world, Monique of Sacramento, California, that had kindly written in, therefore you feel the God realization, the love coming through the body. Because in this world, it seems like that's all you are, is the body. So the spirit in you, the true essence of you are kind of is in charge of the body when you're feeling those sensations of elation with the man of your life who you say you love so much, and you feel those sensations through your body. It's spirit flowing through your body. It's your true essence operating your body to make that body feel wonderful because of that love that you're feeling. Does that make sense? Monique of Sacramento, California, and everyone else listening. It's a state of mind for how many successful individuals on the planet and those who have ever walked among us learn to operate and think. And isn't that really what Jesus was here to teach us? And all of the other masters, name them, the ones you are favorite to you, isn't that what they were here to teach us? But you know, it's in this realization of truth is where you will gain expressions of a spontaneous and undivided life of love, we can say, with peace and harmony, because you have ruled out the fear and doubt and guilt of the ego-based mind. Whoa! Does that make sense now, Monique? I have to sip on another cup of my morning Maxwell House. Okay. Whoa, I got a little jolt of Maxwell House caffeine in me now. But anyways, even though the body is feeling that, the ego in me is feeling that jolt of the caffeine, I'm still being led and directed through this podcast by spirit, by my true essence is what is talking to you right now. And I hope you can feel that within your true essence. Material gain is not to be something we can go seeking or searching for. Material gain, really, okay, what I'm trying to say, excuse me again, material gain is not sought after. However, it often seems to just flow into the life of those whom it is the means necessary to fulfill their purpose and their passion in life. I'll repeat that. Material gain, really, when we quit trying to seek for it and search the earth to all ends for the material gain we want, when we can quit doing that and understand that it will flow into your life when you, as the means, it will flow into your life as the means, as the things that you need, the material objects that you need to fulfill your purpose and passion in life. So when you are aligned to those feelings of love, that love and feeling, that purpose and passion, guess what? Things will start to show up into your life and help you to continue with your heroic mission, which is your purpose and passion. This is why with love and feeling, you can never be lacking anything. The life of spiritual freedom is certainly a pure blessing to all of humanity. And as it spreads, and we're seeing it more and more as the generations, newer generations are coming in, we're seeing real spirituality extending everywhere. But don't be surprised if you have people say to you, I want what you have. In other words, what I'm saying is when you start feeling this glow and this true essence, and Monique, that feeling that you're getting through you about how your body feels so excited and thrilled over the man in your life, that is spirit controlling your body, and that's the way you need to be. So when you are living that way, you are all smiles all the time. Sure, that doesn't mean you're going to have a little downtime once in a while, but then, you know, spirit knows how to lift you up. But when you are most of the time in that kind of a mode where you're cheerful and elated with love all the time, don't be surprised if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I want what you have. How can I be like you? So, you know, and you have to answer that on your own, you know, and in a way that maybe you can lead them to understanding like I'm trying to get you to understand. No one likes to be preached to. We just like to listen and to each other, what's on our minds, and talk calmly and lovingly and with passion. and with purpose and with caring thoughts and caring messages, caring for one another, is being wholehearted. You know, many of us have different views of the feeling of love, and you know, when attack is justified and when we think it is shouldn't be allowed, sometimes we think that attack should be justified. To attack someone and maybe verbally, I'm not just saying, you know, physically through acts of war, but we can bring this to how nations fight each other physically and all that too. And you know, and what's all this terrorism going on in the country too. But well, let me repeat that. I'm just saying that, you know, we have different views of the feeling of love, and when attack is justified, and when we think that, you know, they are attacking us, so we need to attack back in whatever form that might be. But when we are angry at another individual, another nation, whatever it may be, take it on whatever level you want. When we are angry at another, however, we are seeing what is the same as being different. Okay, that might be a little deep too. In book 2, I get into that deeply, where the presence of any confusion over whether anger or attack is justified in whatever form will hide the presence of your true essence, because your true essence is clearly not known or known at all by the ego in you that wants to think that it needs to attack in some way. Whoa, I went deep there again. Okay, I took you into deep water really quick there because I want you to check out book 2 of the series, Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, where I dive in to understanding the presence of your true essence with you all the time. And Monique of Sacramento, California, that great feeling rushing through your body about the man in your life, that's your true essence alive in you. And the ego is just taking a back seat because love is in charge, real love. Confused perception, let me say, will just block that feeling of true love rushing through your body. Confused perception will block knowledge. Love is real knowledge. Knowledge can't be found in a textbook. Knowledge is found inside of the true essence of who you are. Knowledge is found within love. Let me repeat that again. Confused perceptions or projections or assumptions, confusion will block love and knowledge. It's not a question of love and feeling and the degree of confusion or how much it interferes. What I'm trying to say, let me take another sip of coffee, is that remember, the ego can play around with your perception. And, you know, the ego will play around and with your perception and your projections and what you're assuming. And the ego will play around with how you might be thinking of love and feeling. But it cannot touch the knowledge or have that feeling of love in trueness. The ego knows nothing. It only assumes, only projects, and only perceives. The ego will never know that true feeling, Monique, that you have rushing through your body about how you feel for this certain individual. So your confused perception just shuts the door on the knowledge of your true essence and keeps what your true essence knows unknown to you if you think you are a body. You will never know what your true essence knows. You will never know anything because your true essence knows it all. So what does it mean if you perceive attack in certain forms, say, to be unfair to you? Well, it means that there must be some forms in which you think attack is fair. Otherwise, how could some instances be evaluated as unfair? So if you're judging a situation as unfair, You got ego involved there. So it takes true healing for maximum potential in love, in feeling. So now, through the ego's tactics or antics, we can say, this denies the fact that, you know, that all attacks are equally senseless in whatever form, without a cause or consequence, and cannot have effects of any kind. Attack is not a cause. Therefore, an attack cannot have an effect in reality, in the wholeness, wholeheartedness we share with each other. But the presence of your true essence becomes obscured, becomes blocked or obscured. The light of the presence of your true essence becomes obscured by this tainting, we can say, to your perception by the ego, which stands between the shining of your true essence. The light within you becomes blocked, and your awareness that is your own and equally belonging to every living thing along with you. So my point is if you're judging between this attack is fair, or this attack is fair because their attack was unfair, we're just opening the door for more ego, and we're blocking the true light to shine on the whole situation. Remember, when we're blocking anything, when we're believing in attack, or we're believing in any kind of conflict of anything, that means we are believing in limitations. And remember, as the Course in Miracles teaches us, God has no limits. In other words, within the mind of God, in reality, there are no limitations, which means there cannot be conflict. There can only be wholeness, bliss, and love. So you might be thinking, well, what about those times when we just get upset over something with somebody? Well, guess what? That's not within the mind of God that's getting that upsetness. That's the ego that's laced with fear and doubt and entangled with judgment and criticism and worry and all those kind of things where the ego cannot understand anything but limitations. The ego believes it must be limited. The ego is afraid of anything that is limitless. The ego can't believe in something not being limited. The ego cannot believe in conflict-free. The ego cannot believe in wholeness. The ego has a hard time understanding eternity and infinity. What is limited? Remember, God has no limits. So what is limited, Monique of Sacramento, California, and all of you listening? What is limited cannot be of heaven. If you accept limitations in your life as real, then you must believe in a hell where there is no feeling of love. I hope that helped many of you listening today. Please support my work as I get ready to close. I put tremendous effort into everything that I do. Please buy my books. Please have my books in your home or your office. Build a personal library of all the things that I recommend. But make sure you have my books right there on your coffee table or something, and someone comes over, you know, and follow my blogs too if you feel that this hit home with you today. Also, I also have to add that, you know, you'll notice that I always refer other authors, other life coaches, other psychologists, other marriage counselors, relationship couples therapists, and all kinds of things to help you live a better life, to help you face adversity. Because if you really, let's just say you love everything that I write about, and you read all my blog articles, and you buy all my books and more on the way, and you consumed everything that I write about, well, guess what? As a human, sure, I write from spirit, but I'm not able to answer all of your questions, because while we're in this world, we got ego to deal with. And so that's why there are other professionals who specialize in other areas that I don't specialize in, that may help you with a certain situation that I just can't help you with. I write about what's going on in my heart, and I share that to you. And I want you to lead a successful life. And I want you to read my books, but I don't want you to just count on me only. And that's why I refer other people to you, because somewhere out there, these other people that I'm referring you to, and more of those people are referring some people that follow them and read their stuff, are referring them to me. And isn't that how love and truth really works? To where giving and receiving are not seen as reciprocal. No, giving and receiving are seen as two different aspects of the same one divine thought. Before I close, and I've got to leave, I'm running out of time, I'll say that again. Giving and receiving should not be received as something that needs to be reciprocal. Giving and receiving should be of something that is two aspects of one divine spiritual thought of your true essence. Giving and receiving as one. I hope that hit home. I hope you enjoyed today, because that's my mission today, is to really help you to just enjoy the message, and that you benefit from this. I've got to run now. I see my meter in the bottom of the screen warning me it's time to go. Until next time, God bless. James Nussbaumer signing off.